Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored to say these words. Welcome in Naismith Basketball Hall of Famer Nancy Lieberman to episode 9 of Inside Buzz. Nancy was a college phenom at Old Dominion and was a two-time Olympic medalist. She then played for the Los Angeles Lakers Summer Pro League team in 1980. Yes, the Los Angeles Lakers, where she was the only woman to play amongst all men. She also played in many basketball leagues in the 1980s, and in 1997, she joined the WNBA for its inaugural season. She was 39 years old, the oldest player in the league. And then, at age 50, years later, she came back to the WNBA where she again was the oldest player in the league and she broke her own record. She broke many barriers in her career, including being the only woman to be the coach of a professional men's basketball team. She's also the second woman in NBA history to be an assistant coach. She was an assistant with Sacramento in 2015. Today, she's a New Orleans Pelicans broadcaster and also a championship-winning head coach in the Big Three. I also got to give a special shout-out to my guy Oliver Maroney for setting this one up. He's a staple in the Big Three and a staple in all of its success so far. Thanks, Oliver. I appreciate it.
Oliver's a good guy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we gotta all be there for each other. That's how you learn. You'll be doing this for somebody one day.
So, Nancy, let's jump right into the Big Three. What changes are you most excited for in 2020?
Well, I love the fireball. I think that's mano a mano. That's what we actually grew up playing fireball, one-on-one, to keep the court, one-on-one to see who's better, who's got more juice, as they might say. Ice Cube is so innovative, and the fact that he grew up playing the game and he knows how the game should be played. So that's exciting. I'm also glad that we're playing, all our games here in the U.S. for our fans, and to also have younger players integrate with us.
So you've been around many leagues, the WNBA, NBA, and, everywhere. What's different about the Big Three and how Ice Cube and Jeff lead it?
Basketball is a universal sport, and yes, I have coached and played the WNBA and coached in the G League and coached in the NBA as an assistant with the Kings. But this league has everything for everyone. If you're a fan of the game, the really cool part about it is it's current players, it's players that your grandfather liked, it's players that your daddy or your mommy liked, and it has something for everybody. It's very family oriented and valued. You'll see Dr. J, you'll see Hall of Famers, you'll see people like myself or Lisa Leslie or Gary Payton, so many other coaches, Rick Barry, and we'll stop and we'll sign autographs, or we'll stop and we'll give you a hug or a high five and take a picture. We're not in a hurry. We value the fans and we value the competition, but when we get in that game to 50 points, you have a Predators mentality. You got a little Mamba in you.
And for Team Power, the team that you won the championship with, what made that team so special?
Chemistry. And the other thing you also have to do is have the blessing of health. So our first year, we were relatively injury-free. And in year two, we were 5-0. We had beat the triplets. And Birdman tears his ACL. Corey Maggette, has a bad hamstring. He missed the first 5 games of the year. One of the biggest, oh my gosh, losing Katino Mobley. He tore his quad. Quentin Richardson turned his ankle. And it looked like a waiver wire. We were bringing up, and we were very fortunate to have Michael Thompson play for us and Julian Wright and, Jeremy Pargo, who is just a great, great person. It was just hard to find that same chemistry and bond that we had that first year. And if you can stay healthy, you have a chance.
For your time in the NBA and now with the Big Three, have you always gotten the respect from the male players?
Yes, I have. From day one. I mean, I've done my work. I've been at this, not for 6 weeks. I've been at this for, 45 years. And I'm just like they are, and they know that. I'm a gym rat. I love the game. I loved it so much that I wanted to stay involved through coaching or doing TV. As I do the TV for the New Orleans Pelicans. So they have that guy named Zion, I think.
Oh, I know Zion. I know that guy.
So, you have Brandon Ingram and you have Lonzo Ball and you have Drew Holiday. And so it keeps me close to the game, but it's fantastic when players come up and, they give you a hug or they call you a legend or GOAT. And it's almost embarrassing, but it's pretty cool that the young guys and the old guys get it.
And I didn't even have Zion in my questions, but we have to speak about him because you see him night in and night out. What's it like to be around him all the time?
A really nice guy, and he's very humble. He's very confident. Don't mistake his nice smile for not wanting to, come right at you and be better than you. Think about it. At every level, they've said Zion can't do this. He can't play that way in high school. Well, he did. He can play that way, certainly in the ACC in college, but he did. He's not going to be able to play that. I mean, these grown men are going to, push him around. Well, I haven't seen that yet. In 11 games, it's been unbelievable what he's been able to do. 22 points a game, 7 rebounds. It's kind of cool to see somebody like that. And somebody like Zion, he knows about the big three. I mean, I can remember being on the court and Teresa Weatherspoon was there and Zion came over and he goes, "Hey, coach." I'm like, "Hi." And the irony is we have the same attorney. When I was 25 years old, I had Jeff Klein at Wild Gotcha. Now, Wild Gotcha, Jeff Klein is Zion. So there was a little, family connection. The questions are that I get, look what he's doing at 19 years old. Nancy, you were in the Olympics at 18. So, you both know what it's like to have had success at a young age when people, I'm sure he had a lot of Zion camp moments that he obliterated. And I had a lot of Nancy camp moments. And it continues to where we are today. Nancy can't coach or women can't coach men. Well, look what Becky's doing. Look at the women of the NBA. Look what Lisa and myself have been able, to do in the big three. But it's the respect of our bosses. It's a respect of the media. It's a respect of the league. I'm not the flavor of the month. I've been at this for a long time, and I appreciate the kindness.
And as we speak, the Kobe Bryant memorial is going on. And I read, I think in TMZ and all over the internet, you spoke to Kobe the night before, and you were supposed to train Gigi, a short time after that. Can you backtrack to that phone call and then hearing the news?
Sure. Friday night, I'm in the studio getting ready to do the TV with. I'm in the studio here in Dallas doing the Pelicans game. So there's guys that are doing the Spurs game and Nuggets game or Oklahoma City. And they're sitting in some cubes. There's TVs all over the wall. And I don't know if it was Greg Buckner or who it was. And somebody said, "Hey, can you believe Kobe said women can play in the NBA?" And I kind of popped my head up and I go, "Hello, I'm still here." And they turned around. We started laughing because we're all great friends. And I was like, "Guys, I had to play against you in my prime. From 25 to 35, I was playing against you because I didn't have a WNBA. I was a 39-year-old rookie in 1997. And so we started talking. So I was just goofing around. And I said, well, let's ask Kobe what he thinks since we're talking. So I texted him. It's like 7 o'clock at night. He texted me right back, and I'll pull up my text right now because I'll never get rid of it. And the cool thing about him is he was always honest, and that's what I loved about Kobe. And I said to him, you want to talk about women in the NBA? And he says, yes. And I said, when? He says, now. And, he hits me back with, they absolutely could. Reporter was acting like they couldn't. Doesn't mean they need to, but blank. The level of respect because they're women. So normal. Dudes think they can overpower them is BS and frustrating as hell. The NBA players would get served, let alone some normal weekend warrior, ask Joe. And we just kept going, the thread just kept going. And then finally he says, you want to come out next week and coach Gianna's team? And I said, yes, when? And in typical Kobe fashion, we practice every night. I fly to do an appearance. I've been scheduled for 6-7 months to do in Indian Wells, California. And I got there Saturday, and late Saturday night, I get a phone call from Kobe, and he's like, "Hey, let's firm up, Mr. Detail. Let's firm up the plans. Can you come? When can you come?" I said, I can come Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, because then I have TV. He says, "Wednesday." I said, "Great." He says, you'll come to LA, you'll come to the house, we'll grab some food, we'll get Gianna, we'll take the helicopter over. And he goes, "You have as long as you want, you and I just on the court with them." And I was like, "Cool." So I said, "Okay." I started looking up some flights. I said, "I'll let you know Monday," because I knew I was coming home Monday morning. I said, "I'll let you know Monday, and I'll get the address, and we'll get it all locked up." I told my son TJ, who's playing professionally in Tel Aviv, I talked to Kobe tonight, and he's like, "Why are you talking to Kobe?" And he was like, "It's none of your business." No. And I said, he wants me to come and put Gianna's team through practice with him. But I didn't have the plan that later, subsequently, I had the next night with him. So I'm at this conference, and I sit in the last row. There's like 700 people there, last row, first seat, because I hate being like trapped like a rat. And I have the attention span of a fly. So if I need to walk out or I can't sit through 2 hours of presentation. I swear to God, I turned my phone on vibrate. And I guess I didn't. Had my phone been on vibrate while my son was calling me, I would have been in this conference for 2 hours. And he thought I was on the helicopter that crashed. So had I not picked up my phone, he would have thought something happened to me. This is how God works in my life. So I pick up the phone, it's TJ, and it's ringing loud. And I run out the back of the ballroom, and I go, "TJ," he goes, Mother. I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Mom, sit down." I go, "TJ, what's wrong?" He goes, "Mother, sit down. You haven't heard, have you?" I go, "TJ, you haven't heard what?" He goes, "Mom, Kobe's helicopter crashed and he died, and I thought you were on it." These Secret Service guys I was like, I couldn't breathe. And it was so hard for me just to stand there, because I couldn't, it was a dream. These 3 guys ran over. I hear somebody say, "It's Miss Lieberman." They grab me, and they like carry me to a room and set me down. I mean, I was hyperventilating. I was bawling so bad. He was such an amazing human being. And he had time for everybody. I mean, when I was at the US Open in September, he flipped the coin to open the matches on Monday. And I was flipping the coin to open the matches on Tuesday. And so I texted him. I'm like, "Are you still here?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "I'm flipping the coin tomorrow." And he goes, "Yeah, it's kind of fun." I go, "I'm going behind the back." He goes, "Really?" I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. Did you just flip it in front of you?" Like, so knowing the way Kobe is, we were just having fun. And then like the body issue came out, on ESPN. He goes, "You're doing it again." Really, our bond happened in 2008. So, in 97, I played for the Phoenix Mercury in the WNBA at 39, 38. In 2008, I played, for Detroit at the age of 50. So after I played, the game was on, ESPN national TV. I go to my real job working for ESPN, and I'm doing the Laker game with Van Gundy and Mark Jackson. And we finished doing our work with Phil Jackson. And I'm walking down the hall, and Kobe goes, "Hey." And I'm like, "Hi." And he goes, "You got a minute?" I said, "Of course." And we went in this room, and we sat down, and he goes, "Okay, why would you play at 50? What did you do? How did you eat? Were you nervous? Were you not?" I was like, whoa. I said, "Didn't you just win the MVP and like championship?" The beauty of Kobe, he was one of the most curious people. And he didn't care that I was a 50-year-old white woman. He wanted to pick my brain and put it in his think tank, like at the end of my career. He was storing up information, but he wanted to know how I slept, how I ate, what my support system was like. He was pretty amazing. He was genuinely, he was motivated because he couldn't believe. He said, Vanessa and my daughter, we watched this. He was so proud. And he used to call me, how like you have nicknames of people that you'll never share, like Vanessa shared today.
Of course.
Nicknames. At 50, he used to call me the Mama Mamba. Because I was a mom. We both had that, kind of predator mentality. And he even asked me, like, when at the height of my career, like, what were you like? And I said, well, honestly, I wanted to keep people's, behind. I hope they looked at the schedule and went, oh my gosh, because we wanted to physically, mentally, and emotionally, I hate to say it, it is ladylike, destroy you. We wanted to be predators. We wanted to beat you before we got on the court with you, because that was to our advantage. And that's who I grew up playing, in Rucker Park, and, as a young person, always getting my behind, knocked around by guys. When I played for Pat Riley in 1980, I played for the Lakers in their summer league. It was his first coaching. And 3 hours later, these guys beat the crap out of me. And Pat told me this later, probably 2015 at the NBA coaching symposium. He, all the assistant coaches, all the head coaches, GMs, etc., were there. And he's the keynote. And I'm sitting with Nick Nurse. And I have my, iPad, and I'm filming Pat Riley. I don't even know what he's going to talk about, but I'm filming all the speakers. And all of a sudden he goes, yep, so my first coaching job, I am doing summer league. And Jerry West, and, he calls me into the office, with Jerry Buss, and he says, you have a new player coming in tomorrow. And he goes, I don't want a new player. I had my first practice. I had the guys up against the wall where they were stretching, and I told them, this is it. This is the team. And Dr. Buss says, you got a player coming in tomorrow. Her name's Nancy Lieberman. He goes, I don't want her here. I told the guys this is serious. So he's sharing this story, with everybody at the Clippers training facility. So he said, in his mind's eye, I didn't look like his next point guard. He was thinking Magic, not Lady Magic. So he tells the story where every time he said, hey, I need 5 guys on the court, I would run out on the court. And he would look at the other coaches like, what the hell is she doing? So I would get repetition. I'd mess up. Then he'd correct me. I would get more reps. I'd understand what he was looking for. And then I'd walk off the court and look at my teammates and say, hey, if you don't know how to do that, I do. I'd be happy to help you. So I was 22 years old. Practice is over. They go in the coach's locker room. And of course, I didn't know this until 2015. He looks at Mike Tebow and his other assistants and goes, who the hell does she think she is? She acts like she's the best player on the team. She, the guys, they kicked her behind. They knocked her down. She never cried. And she tried to start 2 fistfights. And he goes, what are we going to do with her? And I'm sitting with Nick, and I kept going he goes, isn't that right, Nancy? And I move the iPad and go, he says, 4 days later, she was my starting point guard. Every player on the team deferred to her. He goes, isn't that right? And I go, so it was really cool. So this is what Kobe and I were talking about. I had to play for the Lakers. I had to play for the Jazz and Frank Layton in '87. I played 2 years in the United States Basketball League, which was equivalent to the NBA G League, because I didn't have a place to play. Those experiences really helped me and made me mentally tough, which in turn became the Mama Mamba, which I guess I never really thought I would share with anybody.
To stay on that topic with about Gigi, I mean, her highlights at a very young age were all over social media. Her post fadeaways, just like her dad. What did you see in her game?
It's great to see her footwork. See, he mastered footwork and balance. Everybody used to talk about, or we used to talk about, the quality of your shot is determined by the quality of your feet. And if you have great footwork, you're going to have great balance. If you're great balance, you'll be able to take it to the top. And he was, maniacal teaching footwork and balance. And he, to teach it to your baby, your prodigy at, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. The spin move, the precision coming out of the spin, it was pretty unbelievable. And, I had met Gigi, at the Final Four. We sat together a couple years ago, and you could just see her development. But her confidence is the thing that kind of struck me. It wasn't arrogance. It was just real confidence in what she was doing, but she was so loved.
Women have taken many steps over the past 2 decades in sports. What else do you want to see from women in sports going forward?
Equality. It's as simple as that. I can remember when I was signing my contract in the Big Three. It was almost like tell your agent he's not going to have to negotiate. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, you will be the highest paid coach in the Big Three. You will make what Dr. J makes. You'll make what Gary Payton makes. You'll make what Rick Mahorn or Rick Barry. I mean, that's unbelievable. That it was just said before it was like, oh yeah, my agent, at Octagon, he's gonna negotiate hard for me. But it was amazing that wasn't the negotiating point. It was such a respect. And every step of the way that I have been in the Big Three, it's always been about equality. It's equality, it's inclusion, it's opportunity. And I think it was I probably have the text somewhere a couple weeks after we won the championship in New York. Cube texted me and he goes something, I'm paraphrasing, but something like, NL, are you ever scared? And I said, no, I'm only scared when people won't give me opportunity. And you gave me an opportunity. And I wanted so hard to make him proud. So, I mean, for me, there was a lot of things attached to that championship. Seeing my players, the happiness they had, having their families involved, running around our locker room, the class of the men that I got to coach, the MVP, the captain, Corey Maggette, and Cuttino Mobley, and Birdman, Big Baby Davis, Quentin Richardson. It was amazing to have those guys on our team, and they made me a better coach.
How can the WNBA become what the NBA is today?
Time is our greatest ally. The NBA has been here, 75 or so years, and the WNBA is 22 or 23 years in. First of all, the athletes we have in the WNBA right now are absolutely phenomenal, and they're great women. They understand the history of the game, where we came from, but they also understand they're the gatekeepers of the game, and they have to take us to the next level. The same way, Kuzi and Bill Russell and Havlicek and Walt Frazier, Willis Reed, those guys took this to another level. There was Jordan's era, then there was Kobe's era, then there's LeBron's era. Now, it's Zion, and every group has to take ownership of what they're doing, but have respect for where they came from. That's going to be the same way in the WNBA. There's just, I have so much respect for, Taurasi and Griner, and, when Maya Moore was playing, Deladon, Katie Lou Samuelson, who's now going to be playing in Dallas with the Wings, and so many, many more players. I mean, I could spend a half hour mentioning the greatness of the WNBA players and how much they dedicate themselves, to the future of the game. We have a new commissioner, Kathy Engelbert. It's the first time we've ever had somebody commissioner. Usually it was the president of the league. She's our first commissioner. And we've had some, darn good presidents. So the growth is on the uptick. You can see the investment by ESPN, by CBS, by Adam Silver, who's the greatest commissioner in sports. He really gets this and wants to help, kind of usher it into another level of prosperity and opportunity.
Who are some of those women? Yes, you mentioned those women in the WNBA, but who are some of the coaches just from your time in 40 years of basketball that you've gained so much respect for?
Obviously, Pat Summitt. I'll probably age myself here, but in 1975 and 76, when I was a junior and senior in high school, and I'm still the youngest Olympic basketball player ever, male and female, Pat was my teammate. Is that crazy? When we won the gold medal at the Pan Ams and the silver in Montreal at the Olympics. So she was my teammate. And then to have her with me as a kid, and she was toughening me up every day in practice. I was New York strong and she was country strong, and we'd have to guard each other and battle with each other all the time. And she was fierce. And Kathy Rush, another Hall of Famer. I have had so many coaches like Jody Conrad that coached me on a USA team. I admire Tara Vanderveer for what she's done for the game. Gino has been a good friend for many, many years. And my own Marianne Stanley, who's a Hall of Famer. She's won 3 championships as a coach at the NCAA, collegiate level. She won 3 championships at Immaculata as a player. And now she just won this championship with the Washington Mystics and with Mike Tebow and the amazing MVP, Elena Deladon. So she's, I think you call it a winner. And I had her 3 of my 4 years in college, and we won back-to-back national championships. We were 72-2 my last year, and I think 104-6 my last 3 years. It's crazy, right?
Incredible. And, you took that jump right out of college to pursue a career in basketball. What did your family think of this? Like your parents and siblings, if you have any? What was the word going around about your decision?
She's crazy. What's wrong with her? Those type of things, because you really didn't see any women at that time. We barely had gender equity in scholarships in college. When I was young, I was a poor kid growing up in New York with, no father, no food, no heat, no electricity. I was tired of being bullied by people telling me, that I'll never make anything of myself. And, I'm not a victim of my circumstances. I'm a victor, because, we didn't have what we have today. Like, I had hoped to play in the NBA when I was younger. I never even thought about a WNBA. Young girls today, like Gigi and all those other young girls, their goal is to play college, USA basketball, and then play in the Olympics. And then there's a WNBA for them. If you're really good and you're really dedicated and you stay healthy, that is an option. And I mean, it's grown exponentially now with the new collective bargaining agreement. More money, more benefits, and slowly but surely we're getting there. But it's going to take time. But the players today, they're changing it for the players that are going to be there, in 20 years.
And when you were a young player, who were some of those players you looked up to? Because you said you wanted to make the NBA. That was your goal.
Oh, Walt Frazier was my basketball hero. I wore number 10 my entire career because of Walt Frazier. And he was just kind of cool, did things on the court, played defense. He and Willis Reed with the New York Knicks. I always wanted to be the captain because Willis was the captain. And then, of course, Dr. J, what can you say? He's a Hempstead guy, and he, played for the Nets in the ABA before he went over to Philadelphia with the 76ers. But I remember my neighbor, Eric and Mark Munchnick, they lived in Far Rockaway, and they said they were going up to Dr. J's basketball camp, so they took me. I was 14 years old. So I get to camp, and Daryl Dawkins is there, and of course Doc is there. And, I meet him, I shake his hand, and, he patted me on the head. He goes, now you play, you work hard on your game. You'll be really good one day. And I was like, okay. He said, now work hard. Well, the next year, I was 15. I come back to his camp, and I go, hi, flaming red hair. I go, do you remember me? You hit me on the head, and you said that I should, really play hard. And I go, I did. We won the gold medal at the Pan Am Games. And he went, what? I said, you told me I should be great. So we won the medal, and I'm like, I'm only in high school. And I show him the medal. He goes, you made the USA team? I said, you told me to play hard, so I played against guys. And I got black eyes, and they hit me, and they knocked me down. Okay, Julius and I have been friends since that day.
Have you brought that up to him recently, or over the years? I'm sure you have.
It was crazy because you want to know how many players I've pat on the head. You know who came to my basketball camp in 1998, 99? Al Horford. I had my basketball camp when I was coaching in Detroit, and Tito, his father brought him to camp. So I give him the same thing. Okay, now you work hard. Well, now he's an all-star. Was an all-star. When he was younger, I had just graduated Old Dominion, and the men's basketball coach, Coach Webb, says, hey, can you come back and do this for me? And I go, yeah. So there's this young kid. I go, come on out here. What's your name? He goes, So. I said, so come on out here, man. So we start playing. We start doing drills together. And I pat him on the head. I go, now you work hard. You're going to be really good. You have a lot of talent. It's Alonzo Mourning. How great is that?
Is everything you touch gold? Is that how it works?
I don't know. But I'm so proud of so many of these guys, and I'm proud of my son TJ, who was least likely. And this is a mom in me, okay? Well, one of the reasons I came out of retirement in '97 was '97 was because I was sitting with Magic at the Olympics in '96. We're in Atlanta, and he looked at me and he goes, hey, are you going to play in the WNBA next year? And I said, I don't know, I'm going to be 39. And he looked at me and goes, Nancy, I have never heard you say no. Are you going to play or not? So that was good. So I went home. I go in the kitchen. I'm back in Dallas. And I said, TJ, what does mom do for a living? And he was 3. He goes, you're my mommy. I go, no, I don't do that for a living. What does mommy do? TV? No, son, that's not what mommy does. She's a basketball player, and mommy's coming out of retirement. I said, go in the other room and tell your father. So he goes in the other room to Tim 6'8", and he goes, Daddy, mom's coming out of retirement. And Tim comes out, and they're walking in, and TJ is holding his hand and looking up. He goes, are we in trouble? And then I go, Tim, I'm gonna do this, but I need your support. And I started training. I mean, I trained so hard to come out of retirement. And in this very visual society, as you know, there could be a beautiful woman, maybe not as beautiful woman, skinny, maybe a little heavy, but visually we go towards that person. Now this person could be horrible, and this one could be the saint. So the first thing I had to do was to walk in a gym, and I needed people to look at my body and go, oh my gosh, she had to do something to look like that. So I wanted to show my discipline and my dedication, and that I didn't take it for granted that I was a Hall of Famer or I was Nancy Lieberman. I wanted to earn the right to play. And it was like, it doesn't matter where, I'll go to any tryout you want. And, it was nice because I was drafted in the elite draft with the Mercury.
And how was that training on your body at 39 and then again at 50?
39 was, it wasn't hard. I felt like I was in great shape mentally, physically, how I ate, how I took care of myself. 50 was, I knew a year before that I was going to come play because Lambier had asked me if I would consider that. So I trained really hard for that also. But I think, your body's just a little bit more broken down at 50 than it was at 39 years old. And I was just really proud to go out there, proud to play hard. I think I played 9 or 10 minutes. And I wanted to inspire people that you can do anything you want if you believe in it. And, Ali, who was my lifelong friend, Muhammad Ali, my hero, and at 19, he told me, respect everybody, but fear nobody. And I always, that was my Mamba mentality at 19 years old. And that's how I thought. If I do the work, if I'm healthy, I can do anything. And then, again, you don't know who you're influencing, but Kobe Bryant. David Stern called me the morning that I played in Phoenix opening night. And he was genuinely emotionally moved because he had asked me in 1984 to come to New York. I didn't know David Stern. I was, 24, 25. He was the new commissioner. New guy had a vision. It's funny, I was watching some of the women talk about, David after he passed and talking about what he did in 97. In 1984, I was in his office and he looked at me and he closed the door. And I go, why'd you close the door? He goes, because I just got the job and don't want to get fired. I go, why would they fire you? He said, before I'm done with the NBA, there's going to be a WNBA. And he says, I have one hope. And I said, what's that? He says, I hope that you'll still be around to play in it. And I was like, I'm 25. Of course I will. Like, it didn't compute what he was saying. But think about that, stretch of time. I mean, Abner Doubleday starts Major League Baseball. Abe Saperstein starts, NBA basketball. Who starts a league, especially a women's league? So his vision to change culture, to change how people think for equality. But David did that all over the world. And we just had to be the beneficiary of that.
Is broadcasting and coaching what you want to do moving forward, or is there something else that you want to accomplish in your iconic life?
This is how I see it. The greatest thing you can do is play the game. The second greatest thing you can do is be in the foxhole and coach, because you get to be with guys or gals change their life and help them get to those precious second, third, and maybe fourth contracts. You've had a full career if you've gotten to your fourth contract in both the WNBA and the NBA. If you don't want to do that, then broadcast the game, because you get to hype the game that brought you, so much joy and financial success, and you just actually loved it. And I've had a chance to do all three. So I still, I get up every day and I can't wait to get on Synergy. I can't wait to watch games like TJ played today. He's playing the Eurobasket, and he's on the Israeli national team. And they beat Poland the other day. They beat Bulgaria today. And now they're advancing. So I get on Synergy and I start pulling game film, and why some moms are, looking for recipes. There's nothing bad with that either. So I'm already trying to break down what team power is going to look like next year. And I'm already in touch with my players just to find, what do you need? How can I help you? I love that. So when I get tired of coaching, with the grace of God, I can still do broadcasting because I think it's awesome.
And Nancy, to finish, what are some words of advice for a woman in sports trying to break through?
Never stop working, wanting, or dreaming. Everything is possible. But you have to love you and believe in you before somebody else can. And that's really important. You must prepare yourself for your moment. It will happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Hall of Famer, Nancy Lieberman. Nancy, thank you for coming on. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thanks so much. Good luck with the show.
And personally, thank you so much. I'm only 20 years old, and to have you on my show, it's incredible. And I'm taking all those words that you just said to heart in my career. So thank you so much.
You can do it, and don't let anybody tell you you can't. You know what the naysayers are? Those are the people who have never done anything in their life, and they want to hold you back because they can get to that next level.
Mm-hmm.
And people will champion you. If you do your homework and prepare, you'll be championed by somebody. And then, when you're 35, you'll be helping some 20-year-old who's in college.
Yeah.
Are you in college now?
Yeah, I'm actually from Long Island. I was gonna mention that. I go to LIU Post on Long Island. So
We used to play pickup out there at Post. It's cool.
Mhm.
I'm so glad. I mean, nothing better than being in New York.
Yeah, and I got all my social media stuff. So Oliver's gonna get me in when the Big Three comes to Brooklyn. So maybe I'll meet you in person there, right?
You'll definitely meet me. Make sure you come say hi, okay?